I'll do one more segment today. Earth Day. Hope everyone's having a lovely Earth Day. Once I got back here in 2010, I did spend a lot of time with my mother. So 2010, 2011, and part of 2012. She passed at the end of, or no, 2010, 2011, 2012, and she passed in 2013 in June. So got some good quality time with her. This whole time, I forgot to say that after I dug the little chip and the strange looking thing out of my toe, things did get better, and I had sound coming in, but it wasn't the same. It altered things a little bit. So that chip in there, the fact that it was there was such a big blister on the toe, the blister was as big as the toe almost, tells me that things were being activated through there, at least partially. Another place that I have something strange is on the right side of my back, close to the bone back there. I even went to a holistic doctor and had him look at it at one point. I have used both conventional and alternative medicine over the years. My surgery in that treatment, of course, was done by conventional medicine. That was a life or death issue. I had a CAT scan done to identify what was the problem, to locate, to see that it was actually a tumor. I mean, I had a lot of weight in that area, and I thought it was just fat. I just, and then at some point, I'd get on the scale, and I had been not eating very much, and it seemed like I should be losing. I wasn't losing. I started to think maybe there was something in there that didn't belong. But I'm not a big, huge fan of conventional medicine, because lots of times it seems like it's more about making more money than it is about making people well. I haven't gotten all involved in the Obamacare thing that's been going on the last few years, because it hasn't been an issue for me. Try to stay healthy. I haven't been eating very well. I can see that in my face. But I have spent probably tens of thousands of dollars on supplements and vitamins and everything that I have used to still be here. And that's not right. You shouldn't have to spend a lot of your money to buy products to help keep you alive because someone is doing something to you that causes you harm. The time in the old farmhouse, my husband did come back here for a while. He came, it was like he was here for the last couple of months of 2011 and into 2012. And I got this anonymous note where it says he's enjoying his freedom, not to mention everyone coming to the lovely house to party. That was in May after he went back. I talked to one lawyer who was actually lived close by where I lived in the country. They did not come over to welcome me to the neighborhood. I was told his name by somebody that I thought maybe would give me a credible lead, and he referred me to another lawyer who was a woman. she helped me go ahead with a divorce. Since I wasn't getting support for what was happening to me, I felt like that was what I needed to do. It wasn't particularly easy, but it was easier because I was here and he was still in Colorado. He has chips in him too. I have no question in my mind. With everything that I've learned, it would explain the behavior changes that I saw, the voice changes. Actually, the technology of what can be done, the research that's gone on since World War II, the people that were in this country already that had been born here, and people they brought in from other places, the technology is really incredible. And mind control is, I've read a lot about mind control and being connected to supercomputers and being, having your brain monitored, and they're monitoring every other part of my body. They're monitoring what I do all the time. Why would they not be monitoring my thoughts? That's devastating too, isn't it? Programming, computer programming in your brain, artificial intelligence, transhumanism, all those words floating around out there, conspiracy theories. Nobody came to my house to explain to me what's being done. Nobody has told me when the chip was put in my little toe and when the other piece was put into my big toe. And now the toe next to my big toe has something going on with it, and has been for quite a while. I've been digging at it. It's really painful, and it's a little bit different from the other two as far as what it looks like, what it feels like. There was this little brown spot in it, and I kept digging and digging and thinking that was maybe what I was needing to get out of there. And I got something out yesterday. So, I mean, we're talking every day. It's a struggle to deal with whatever is tossed your way, whether it's the refrigerator stopping or the water line leaking or the toilets needing fixed or the flea infestation or the wind storm that blows the shingles off your garage. So you have a $5,000 repair bill that you don't expect. It's the broken water line during the winter this year because we had really, really cold. It's finding stuff like this under the house, silent sound for mice. After being blasted with what I was been blasted with, can I hear the same sounds that mice do? I don't know. Not been explained. After we divorced and sold our house, then I went ahead and looked into buying the house here because I wanted my own place. I grew up in the country. Now to talk about the country for a little bit. I grew up in the country. My mama was a farm girl. Her brothers, two of her brothers are farmers. Her other brother's a teacher. She was a teacher, teachers and farmers. Dad, when she and Dad got married, he brought her back down here to where he grew up, and we had a place out in the country. It wasn't a farm. He worked at the Piketon plant, the Goodyear atomic plant it was at that time. So I grew up in the country, and I don't use guns, but I grew up with people who have guns. And so when we have this whole rigmarole about liberals don't want us to have guns, and rednecks want to keep their guns, and right-wingers, and all that stuff, just all it does is divide us, and it divides us when we should be dealing with the kinds of problems like Snowden revealed, which is they're monitoring every communication you have all the time, and they're doing stuff like they're doing to people like me. And what I said in the last video, the one that was too long to upload, we don't know how many of us there are. I've read several hundred, I've read hundreds of thousands, and I've read millions, because the files are stashed away somewhere. So those are critical issues. You've got all these weapons being developed and created and then used on people around the world, but supposedly we don't use them on US persons. Oh, but wait, we do. And I did not realize the amount of experimentation that's been done on people in this country. I mean, the whole dragging the slaves out of Africa and bringing them over here, and what was done to them is just, it must have been people who did it. How can they treat people like that? It doesn't compute. But then how can people use energy weapons on their fellow U.S. citizens? So, but with the slaves, I know that now that the black people were experimented on, some of them when they were in prison. If they didn't hang them, sometimes they'd throw them in prison, and then they would do these terrible experiments on them. And orphans, the indigenous people, some of the children were pulled away from their parents and put into various schools, and stuff was done to them. People in mental institutions have been routinely tested. Various people have volunteered over the years and didn't know what they were volunteering for, and got into some pretty nasty stuff too. So when we talk about the isms and the ists, and this person is liberal, and this person is conservative, and this person is libertarian, and this person is environmentalist, and this person is this, and this person is that. That's all fine and good, except that it doesn't solve anything, and it just keeps people at odds with each other all the time. I mentioned, I said it was unfortunate that Harry Reid called the people out in Nevada domestic terrorists. I think that's extremely unfortunate to use that term against them. And some of the various media people are talking about how the BLM should have just thrown them all in jail and locked them up and thrown away the key. Well, you have something going on today in Washington, D.C. that's pretty interesting, and that is the Cowboy and Indian Alliance. And they are peacefully bringing awareness to the fact that they don't think that another pipeline through the aquifer in Nebraska is such a good idea. And they're peacefully protesting that. Now, if you want to talk about what's been done to people, let's talk about what's been done to the indigenous people in this country and in Canada and in other places around the world. There were so many of them. I heard, I don't know the numbers for Canada, and I've heard numbers for Canada and the numbers for the United States, so I don't know which is which, so I'm not going to say them. But to have the millions and millions of them wiped out by the killing them outright, by relocating them and making them walk and die as they walked to where they were going to go, by I mean, these people are strong because they're still with us. Whether there was an attempt to totally wipe them out, I don't know if that was on the plans or not. But so to keep putting labels on people, and there was a really cool picture on Facebook the other day. It was a picture of arms, and it started with the really white pale arm, which would be me, and then the next one, which would be pinker, and the next one, which would be more of a golden color, and then it went into the darker. It went into like 6 or 7 different skin tones, and they were all arms of human beings, and that's what we are. And we seem to forget that when we start putting all these labels on each other. So anyway, I was talking about being a country girl. I grew up with people having guns and people going hunting, and my brother's been an avid hunter most of his life and gone places elsewhere in the country than where he lived to go hunting with his friends. When I was in Colorado, it's big game hunting out there because of the elk. And I came to peace with it because as long as they weren't hunting in my yard, you go out into the forest and you have better odds than if you just have a group of elk in your yard and you let the guy drive up in his car and shoot one. I mean, that's not really hunting, is it? That's just picking them off in the yard. But I came to peace with that. But guns have been used against me as part of the harassment. And so when guns are used in that way, it almost makes you want to kind of go back to side with people that don't think guns are so great. I was being neutral on guns. I was trying to get to a place where I was neutral on guns and neutral on hunting. Killing an animal is just not my thing. But men and women are wired differently too, and there are women who hunt, and there are men who don't hunt. So, but when guns are used against me for harassment, that's not right. And I didn't see how many of the people against the BLM were actually armed. I saw a lot of guys on horseback, and they may have had their guns holstered on the horses somewhere, and I saw a few of them. They kept going back to the one sniper type guy. They kept playing him up. But I'm a country girl. I'm used to the country way of looking at things, and I wasn't big into the feminism, but I'm a strong advocate for females because I don't think females should be harassed because of being female. So, whatever reason I was charged, tried, convicted, and sentenced, those are the kinds of issues that we should be saying to Congress, this is not okay. They came for me. Are you next? Are you going to tick off the wrong person? I think that's it for today. I stopped at about 2012. I have a little bit more to say about the chronology, and then I have to get the information from the original. I have to get that on here somehow. So happy rest of Earth Day. Thanks.